Simplify so that when you leave here, you know how you're going to tell someone why you would introduce them to grounding, because for most people that's probably less well known than I need to drink water, I need to breathe air. Like, that's intuitive. Once I get done with this, I want it to be intuitive that you need to ground your human body if you want it to work. Everyone here, your body, my body, we all only function, we're only alive right now because our entire body runs off of electricity. You don't think of it that way because people think of electricity as these bright lights, you know, AC man-made fake currents that we've come up with. About 150 years now, we've had a light bulb and we've had air conditioning and other conveniences. That's not what we're talking about. Our body does not run off AC fake man-made electricity. We human beings live in a natural universe that existed long before electricity. So when I talk about the electrical conductivity of the body, I'm talking about natural energy. That's called DC energy. That is the function of our entire universe. Our Earth produces DC energy. Animals, plants, human beings, we function on DC energy. We're not talking about fake man-made electricity. We're talking about before there was ever such a thing as AC currents. Our bodies still function and only function because they're electrical. Most people recognize what this is. This is your heartbeat. Our hearts didn't start beating just because man invented electricity. It has nothing to do with that. Beating hearts because we function on DC energy. Absolutely natural. Since the universe was created, everything runs on DC energy. So when doctors look at the function of your heart to make sure your heart's okay, we're looking to make sure your DC energy is okay. So you know this already. I'm not telling you something new. You know your brain is putting out an electrical impulse in order for you to be thinking, writing down, looking at your phone, functioning at all. So if you walked into my clinic and I was worried about your brain's activity, your electrical activity of your brain, and I thought maybe you have a seizure disorder or maybe you're not sleeping well, I would hook your brain up to electrodes, and this is what it looks like. And I'm not monitoring the health of your brain because of fake electricity like the light bulbs. I'm monitoring your DC natural energy. That's how your brain is functioning, and that's how I know it functions well. So when I optimize your DC energy, you're optimizing how your brain works. Your muscles in your body do not contract, you do not move, you don't even blink unless DC energy is contracting that muscle. And I can hook you up to an EMG and I can measure that to see if your muscles are functioning well. And that's because I'm measuring DC natural energy running through it to make sure it's functional. Everything in the natural universe functions on DC energy. So do you think a coincidence that the Earth we live on, this is a resonant pattern that comes out of the Earth, creates a frequency that is the exact same frequency as your brain when you're at rest and in a healing state. The alpha brainwave patterns of your brain, exact same frequency of the Earth. Touching the Earth directly, and instantly your brain goes into a healing pattern, and instantly those muscles that I showed you relax, and instantly your heart function is supported, and all the parts of your body that work on electricity, which is all the parts of your body, go into a healing state. So now, every age, you're never going to outgrow it. You're never too young for it. When your heart was beating when you were inside your mother, it was only beating because you had DC energy as a fetus inside with a heartbeat. And the day you were born and you took your first breath, the only reason you breathed in the first time in your life was because you had a DC electrical impulse make you breathe. And it'll be there till your last breath. You're not ever going to outgrow the need for your body to have healthy DC natural energy. These are pictures of me raising my children, teaching my daughter how to walk barefoot on the grass, and we went to the beach a lot, and that's a picture of us running across our front yard barefoot, because I know this. Their bodies, their little baby bodies, need to be healthy, and they need to be outside in nature. Okay, so if I go outside and I just touch a blade of grass, instantly, every single part of my body is electrical. So my muscle cells, if I did that EMG and I showed you those contractions, instantly my muscle cells relax. And you might feel this. Have you ever had a tension headache? And you go outside or you're at the beach and it's gone. Because every cell in your body instantly relaxed when it didn't have to regulate itself, the earth did it. In my brain, my neurons go immediately into that alpha brainwave pattern so I can actually think. And I get out of my bad mood, hopefully. And my red blood cells, immediately, these are immediate. You can go outside for just 10 minutes and you'll get these benefits. My blood flows more freely. The red blood cells, they don't clump as much. They flow through the body better. My digestion, so if you have an upset stomach, try it, go outside. Go outside for a few minutes, touch the earth and see. Your entire digestive tract gets supported. Your swallowing function, your stomach digestion, your peristalsis, all is improved. Most people have a problem with sleep. Any given year, 40% of us have a diagnosable sleep disorder, not just a rough night's sleep, not just working the night shift and I feel crappy for a little while. I mean a diagnosable sleep disorder. And that's not good because our entire body's electrical and our brain needs to sleep to function. If you are not sleeping well, you have an increased risk of depression, of anxiety. Over time, it's so damaging to your brain, you have an increased risk of dementia, and you have an increased risk of death. Not just from accidents because you're not thinking as clearly, but also just that's how stressful it is on your body. Your body's lifespan decreased if you're not sleeping well. So grounding helps with all of that. As I already told you, it instantly relaxes your muscles. So when you're laying in bed, your muscles relax and your brain starts to go in that healing pattern. You stop overthinking and you start being able to go to sleep. Grounding boosts your immunoglobulin naturally, okay? That's incredible. The other thing it does, as we've already talked about, is it increases your circulation, which means you're bringing oxygen and nutrition to parts of your body that are struggling to recover from disease. Grounding has been shown to decrease that inflammatory cytokine reaction. I'm just talking about touching the earth. Literally, it makes your body react less, brings inflammation down, boosts your immunity, and it boosts your recovery. So the most recent poll from last year, more than half of us want to lose weight. And grounding does that in many, many different ways. Like I've already talked about, it makes your body function better. So at rest, sitting there, you're burning more calories. So that would be awesome. Over time, it boosts your thyroid function. It boosts your digestion. We kind of talked about that already. Over longer periods of time, it actually decreases cortisol, which means you're less stressed out, and there is a strong association between stress and weight. If you've noticed that in your own life, when you're stressed out, you get central abdominal obesity, it's called. And when you're in periods of time where you're not stressed, that falls away without dieting and exercise because it was stress related. And grounding decreases stress by decreasing cortisol naturally because, again, you're docking your body. It doesn't have to work as hard. The earth is supporting you. And it deepens sleep. That's another thing you guys should know. If you're not sleeping well, it's impossible to lose weight. And in fact, if you're not sleeping well, it's almost impossible not to gain weight. Medical studies have shown if you're not sleeping well, you gain weight 9 times faster. So it's hard, if you're not sleeping well and you're just staying at your same weight, that's congratulations, because that's really hard to do because you're tired. The next day, what you want sugar because you're exhausted and you need that coffee and you make poor food choices. And that's not anyone's fault. That makes sense. You're tired. You need quick energy. But if you're actually deepening your sleep, like we talked about that grounding does, without dieting, without even thinking about it, you make better food choices. You don't need as many calories in. You feel good. So I was personally really impressed with that, and I wanted to see, does that have real world results. Does that really work? I know these things medically, in medical studies, but does it work with my patients? So I followed a dozen patients for 10 weeks. I had them come in every week. We did a weigh-in, we did a check-in, multiple different parameters of health. Every single week, the average weight loss with no dieting. I said, do not change what you eat. Do not change your exercise. Nothing, just start grounding. A pound a week for 10 weeks straight was the average weight loss. 60% of people lost between 4 and 15 pounds with doing nothing else. So I'm gonna pull it all together. You know your body's electrical. This picture is just to remind you of that. And you also know, thank you, that grounding is for every part of your body. It's for every age of all of us and everyone you're ever gonna meet. It helps every system in your body, and the kicker, the longer you do it, the benefits accumulate.